Let's welcome in Texas Congressman Pat Fallon to talk more about this. Great to see you again, Congressman.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Let's talk about the border, and also if we have some time, we can talk about this House Judiciary Committee hearing going on today as well. But, you know, I know you're seeing this in your district all over Texas, and we're seeing it, quite frankly, all over the country, these symptoms and the consequences of this open border. But, you know, it's now falling on Texas DPS and the National Guard to fill the void where the Biden administration doesn't seem to want to do that. How desperate is the situation from where you're standing?
Well, John, thanks for having me on again. It is absolutely, it's not even a crisis, it's a catastrophe. Right now, we've had 170,000 apprehensions for 6 months in a row. That's never happened before. We're on track. We're already at a 21-year high of unlawful entries, and we're going to probably break the record. And we don't even have the September numbers yet, and I wonder why. Because August numbers were awful. They were 4 times worse than they were last August, because we need to reinstitute, and apparently the Biden administration announced, but you can't really believe what they say, that they're going to reinstitute the Wait Mexico policy, because that policy worked. That was a President Trump policy.
Well, it seems like they're doing that under pressure from the federal courts, who say they need to put it back in place. And, you know, the question I've been asking a lot of people, and I wish I could ask this to somebody in the administration, they don't seem to want to answer our questions, is why are they waiting until November after a federal judge told them they need to reinstate that policy? I mean, we can't get, that's just one of the many questions we can't get an answer to.
Well, John, that's purposely dragging their feet. They don't want to do it, so they're just delaying for absolutely no reason. And if listen, at the end of the day, if you're not safe, then you're not free. And that's the most important job of any elected official, whether it's somebody at the local level or all the way up here in Washington. And we are abdicating our responsibility as a federal government to secure the border, and we're allowing the Mexican drug cartels to do it. I mean, their GDP is estimated to be somewhere between $15 and $50 billion a year. We have NATO allies. We have nation states like Latvia, Lithuania. They have their GDPs are around 30 to 50 billion. So we have a narco state at our southern border, and we should secure it.
But the political will to do so doesn't seem to exist right now in the Biden administration. The other thing, too, that just stands out about illegal immigration right now is what's happening in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, where, you know, these train passengers decided to record a sexual assault instead of stopping it and intervening. But we now know that the suspect here, 35-year-old Fitzin Ngoy, originally arrived on a student visa. He overstayed that student visa. He's accumulated a criminal record, including pleading guilty to sexual abuse, but he was ordered released by a federal immigration judge in 2019. I mean, this is another issue, not just the border, but we have people overstaying their student visas. Too many people are in this country when they should not be, Congressman, and not enough is being done to prevent it.
Yeah, and like you said, we have the resources to secure our border. We just don't have the political will. The Biden administration is, in effect, having an open border policy, and a porous border is an immoral border. Nobody talks about the fact that a third of the women that migrate from southern Mexico and Central America unlawfully into the United States, they're raped or sexually assaulted along the journey. The Democrats don't want to talk about that, and the human toll. It's an absolute crisis. And by the way, John, 10,469 pounds of fentanyl have already been seized this year. That's enough fentanyl to kill every American 7 times over. The drug cartels are making wild profits, and this mass unlawful migration is a distraction because our Border Patrol are changing diapers and administering COVID tests.
Right. The fentanyl supply chain seems to be unbroken, but we see everything else we can't get imported into this country, and it's why I think, Congressman, that so many people right now are waking up who have not really been paying attention to these issues like the border. Fentanyl is invading every single community almost in this country right now. Something has got to be done to stop it. You know, but again, we don't know where that's going to come from. We don't see any urgency from this administration. Lastly, Congressman, I wanted to get your take on what we've heard so far. We know some of your colleagues, Jim Jordan, Burgess Owens, they've been holding Merrick Garland's feet to the fire about, you know, going after parents over critical race theory. Ultimately, what happens with this? Do you think Merrick Garland will back off of his plan?
I think that he'll have to back off of his original plan, which was really honestly to investigate parents who dare question their school boards. I mean, that's the thing. The school board works for the parents. The school board works for the people. But a lot of those elections are really tilted in favor of the person that's going to do on the school board what the superintendent wants, because he has all their school employees.
Right.
And they're not supposed to do this. We see this in Texas. We see this everywhere. I'm glad the parents are standing up to fight for our children's futures. And, it's supposed to be an education, not an indoctrination.
It is, and unfortunately, the latter is what we see in places like Loudoun County, Virginia, and anywhere else they have this critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Great to see you, Congressman Pat Fallon. Thank you so much coming to us from Texas.
Thanks, John.
Anytime.
God bless.